Baby, roll it.
This segment
my
has been
goodness.
sponsored by the Ubuntu Room. Come join Dana Sardano as she offers life-changing advice that will affect the spiritual, emotional, and physical aspects of your being. Within her easily available writings, you will find the solution you need for your problems. Tune in to the Ubuntu Room on the Brooklyn Cafe Show.
Hi, my name is Dana Sardano, and this is the Ubuntu Room. I am so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me. So today we are talking fifth recommandment in 10 Rex Book Club, as with the most important sentence in the book from Freddie. I want to thank you for that, Freddie. But before we get into the fifth recommandment, again, I always want to do a quick little recap. It is so important that we understand that the heavy lifting has been done. First recommandment, I shall not claim victimhood. That is huge. If you could shift into that mentality, I love doing this because I could see out of the corner of my eye Wendy nodding. She's like my own silent cheering section. She's like, yeah, yeah. Anywho, if you could recognize that you are not a victim and take accountability, that is the hardest work right there. And then to understand that your emotional guidance, Rec 2, is what's helping you navigate things, do more things that you love, do fewer things that you hate, and not get entrenched in those emotions and spiral. And then the third recommandment, I shall not have toxic beliefs or apply toxic beliefs and irrational beliefs and toxic behavioral patterns to my life experience. And when you recognize that it's your belief system that's creating your reality and that you're perpetuating patterns with that belief system. And then the fourth recommandment, the deep dive, understanding where all this comes from through understanding your chakra system, doing the excavation, and bringing it all to the surface, which is yucky and uncomfortable, but necessary in order to pluck it at the root and put it to rest. You have done the work in Recs 1 through 4. You're doing the work, and that's amazing. So today, we're going to have a little bit of fun because today we're going to talk about I shall not settle for anything less than my general contentment. Now, this is really important because this is about two things. This is about being in the moment, especially when things feel chaotic and uncomfortable around you. It's bringing it back to that moment. And this is also understanding that all of our general baseline is to be content. Now, of course, we want to feel joy and happiness and excitement and all those higher vibratory emotions. But to be content means to have your needs met. To be good, right? To be in a good place. And many of us settle for feeling less than content. For whatever our reasons are, go back to Recs 1 through 4, right? And what happens is because of lack of worthiness or just lack of desire, apathy, whatever it is, we settle. I use two examples in the book that Freddie's reading right now to catch up. One example, again, man, I've got mom's peripheral vision. I see what's going on all around me. But the one example was pretty intense. You're in a harrowing relationship and you're spiraling, right? And you feel trapped and you don't know how to get out. But if you ask yourself, what can I do in this moment to bring me one step closer to contentment? You then can have the clarity because you brought it back to center to say, hey, maybe I could just start looking for places, or maybe I could have a conversation with this person. Maybe I could do something that empowers myself so I don't feel so trapped. And then I used a more lighthearted example about my, just sitting outside and we'll call it meditating, contemplating, sitting in nature, and recognizing something simple like, oh, my feet are cold, and covering my feet. And by doing that, all of a sudden, my simple experience, was stepped up a notch. So our general fulfillment, our enjoyment in life, it's contingent on that contentment. It's contingent on having our needs met. And you would be amazed at how many people not only are not having their needs met, but they're not taking the time to look and see where their discomfort lies and why their baseline isn't contentment. We've learned to settle for survival and fear and frustration and angst. We've learned, those are learned behaviors. And just to circle back really quickly about Max's conversation last week, or our conversation with Max, about her comfortability with discomfort, her pain. And because of that comfortability, that became her baseline. And that was her acceptability. But it doesn't have to be that way. Just because we can suffer doesn't mean we have to. So, I shall not settle for anything less than contentment. Let's open the floor.
I love that. Just because we can suffer doesn't mean we have to suffer. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. It's funny because we were talking about this morning, right? Mm-hmm. We were talking about, it was actually you, so maybe you read this book like through osmosis.
No, the accusations are flying.
through osmosis. Maybe you read the book because we talked about living life instead of just paying your bills and getting through the yuck and the things that you have to do, right? I got to pay rent, I got to do this, I got to take my kids to school, but all those things stop us from contentment or joy or living life. Kind of a fluid conversation.
Yeah.
Between your ears, you create life, which is everything minus. You know, it's become that, and my son was talking to me about something with his son, ADHD, anxiety, anxiousness, and my grandson's only 7. So it seems like if you don't have these things, you ain't normal. The normal is the abnormal because we're creating abnormal to be the normal. Yes. So how can you ever be content with yourself if you believe all the minuses in life? If everybody tells you, you see, I did read your book. If everybody tells you that your hair is too short or too long, and you should grow it longer, the shoulda, coulda, wouldas, you begin to do it because of other people's opinion. You begin to create a false sense of real, and that's what we talked about this morning. Right. Because this studio is built on everything the opposite. So I have read your book. I may not have read it yesterday, but I've lived your book, and I've learned that if I do it the other way, it doesn't work for me. And it shouldn't work for them. So I live it the other way.
So why do you think people have a hard time finding contentment? Is it the overthinking, social media hype? I have to compare myself to everybody versus, as Andrew said today, I work at Starbucks and I just want to take care of ducks on my farm.
I think that those are, I think what you were saying are symptoms of the greater problem. I think that it really comes down to, again, everything goes back to chakras, but if we are living in a place of survival and fear, by the way, the 10th recommandment, it's I shall not live in fear. But if we're living in survival and fear, lack of self-worth, self-doubt, shame, those are the big ones. Shame, doubt, fear, guilt. Right? When we're living there, those are below contentment. So those are the things that create the manifestations of them, the circumstances. You know what I mean? So I think it's looking at those things. It's chapters 1 through 4. That's the answer. It's not the putting a Band-Aid on the symptom of the problem. It's going back and asking yourself, why do I align with circumstances that evoke doubt, fear, shame, right? Wendy, chime in here.
Absolutely. So even down to what we choose to watch, what we put into our eyes, what we're looking at, this kind of feeds our narrative. So to some extent, you're right about that. The conversation of what's on social media, what's the latest hype, what's the latest sneaker, what's the latest this, it keeps us all in that space of not finding where we are content. So I would also go a little bit further. That could also be the catalyst to help us find what it is. So if you find that you're one of those people that you've done these things, say I've tried to keep up with the Kardashians, for lack of a better example. Mm-hmm. You're trying to keep up with this, and you come to a space where you recognize that that's not where you excel at, that you're not happy about, that this is showing you through their lens, through their eyes. Well, then maybe this is the catalyst that I choose. This isn't what I want anymore. And you get yourself out of that. But it's the recognition of that.
Is a recognition of that. So like keeping up with the Kardashians, just to stick with that, and the like.
Yes,
right? Because
and the
there's
like.
a billion things of the like.
Yeah.
All it does is feed your insecurity.
1000%.
So everything that I see when I'm scrolling is, it's for 50 plus women and, plastic surgery and what kind of things that we got to do to lift our butts and, and all these things. Mm. So if I wasn't aligned, if I wasn't secure,
Yes.
it would tap into whatever my self-doubt is. It would tap into my
1000%.
fears. I do this because these are the lower chakras. It would tap into my insecurities.
Exactly.
So,
And exacerbate
so the
them.
problem isn't what's on social media or whatever it is that's triggering it. The problem is that there's unhealed versions of us that are aligned with those things.
Exactly.
Right? I mean,
Exactly.
I brought up once about the blonde jokes, how I didn't get blonde jokes.
Yes.
Because I don't align with blondes being stupid. So it's meaningless to me. But if I was
1000%.
insecure about being stupid, then that would be a big deal. So the answer isn't the stimuli. The answer is the point of reference.
Exactly, the response to that. For the longest time, you said about the blonde thing. For me, it was, you're weird. And I would always walk around saying, thank you. Oh my goodness, thank you. I'm weird. Finally, I don't want to be like everybody else. I want to be the round hole, the round peg in a square.
Yeah.
You get what I mean.
Yeah.
But I'm going to butcher it.
I don't want to fit in the hole.
Yeah. It just felt like, and that's something else. Going back to even my childhood, I didn't have language. I saw things and I knew that, why are the adults in my life doing what they're doing? It doesn't seem right. At 8, 9, 10 years old, I didn't know what that looked like, but I knew it didn't feel right. I just went along with the programming, and fast forward, you fall into line with the programming if you don't have a better example to show you out there. I knew enough that I was on the fringe, but I didn't know where I fit in, and I didn't fit in anywhere.
But do you think some of our misalignment, we talked about this before, comes from the perceptions of who we become because of those things that people project or
Yes.
impart onto us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, especially
we watch
our families.
parents act a certain way. We watch our siblings be raised different than we are, even though when they're saying whatever it is.
Yeah.
The teacher likes you better than the teacher likes me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of those things that we come in as a clean slate.
Yes.
Exactly.
And all of these perceptions of everybody else, all their noise is what makes us who we are. And then we got to clean it up.
Exactly.
We didn't ask for it, now we got to clean up the nonsense of
Exactly.
what they gave us.
Or you don't buy in.
That's the work.
Or you don't buy in.
in.
Are you the orange or the grapefruit? You know the story?
No, I don't
So the orange was a big, big orange, and I picked it, and it talked to me, and I said, are you the best orange on the tree? He says, I'm the best orange on the tree that I can be, otherwise I'll be a grapefruit.
Oh, that's awesome.
So are you the orange or the
I'm
grapefruit?
definitely orange.
I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I was going to college, and to get into college, I changed my last name to Spanish with a Y. And to get into law school, I changed it to an I. Because I figured that if I was Italian, or was it the other way around? No, it was the other way around. I figured if I was Puerto Rican to get into a college, law school, they would accept me. And I believed this. To this day, I believed it. And then I realized I was just creating stuff in my ears. Maybe it was the grades. I mean, I had a 4.0. I was smart in school. I skipped a couple of grades. Maybe that's what did it. But I didn't ever think I was good enough. Can you imagine not being good enough? If you ask somebody, are you good enough? And they tell you, no, I'm not. What do you say?
If somebody tells me they're not, say that that's your belief. It's for you to figure it out.
Yeah.
But they believe they're not.
So what do you mean? What do I say to them?
So-
That's their problem.
So in my case, if I have, say, for example, a client that comes to me and they're saying, you know what, I don't think that I'm the sharpest tool in the shed.
I'm not good enough. Let's
I'm
be
not good
specific.
enough. All right, I'm not good enough.
Okay.
So then I will examine that. I'll help them break it down. So why do you say that? Give me a few examples. Now, this happens with me with a lot of my clients that have been with me long term. I will ask them, hey, do you remember when we first started, 1 year, 2, 5 years ago, whatever the case is? And they're like, I haven't thought about it. And oftentimes they have tears because they realize that they've managed to move the needle and they weren't aware of moving the needle. So to get back to your question is, all right, so why do you feel you're mediocre? And then shine the lights on the different places. I'll give you a perfect example. I had a lady, she's in her 60s, 70s, and she reached out to me. No, I reached out to her, and she's like, how do you manage to know to reach out? She said, I just went through this horrible thing in court. The judge treated me really awful, and it maybe brought me back to when my mom was abusing me and all of these things. And I said, wait 1 second. I said, look at how you're looking at that story. I said, first of all, did you back out of court? She said, no. I said, you showed up. I said, that's win number 1. She's like, oh my goodness. And she says, when the judge started treating her like crap and went to walk away, she stopped him. She's like, Judge, I'm not finished. I have to present these things. I said, number 2, you spoke up for yourself. I said, and number 3, your mom is dead. She can't hurt you anymore. So she's like, you know what? I'm going to sit with that. The very next day she texted me. She says, you helped me get out of bed yesterday.
That's the deal.
That's
because it's just the courage of somebody telling you that.
Yeah.
When they don't recognize it. And then once they recognize it, I've not spoken to her since that conversation. That happened 6 months ago. I've not heard from her again. I don't take that bad. I feel like she took what she got and ran with it, because I did get the text, hey, I'm feeling a lot better. So she must be doing great. Otherwise, I would have heard something from
Well,
her.
let's hope so.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Yeah, right.
But the courage of somebody asking you that, to me, is the win. How many people are going to tell you how they feel, especially when it's from the negative?
1,000.
So if you want to do,
Everyone's going to tell you the negative.
not necessarily,
A lot of people, how you doing? Fine.
yeah.
How are you? Fine.
Everything's
until,
good.
until you really ask, and then you get the oh woe is me. You never get the in between. You get the I'm great, the fake, hi, you walk by someone, I'm great, I'm wonderful, or you get the oh man, I'm ready to slip on the other banana peel because life is.
But
what
when
it
do you
is.
know the truth? Do you sense it? Do you know it when you see it? Because if you're telling me you know it, then you have to tell them, oh, that isn't true.
Well,
You do all the time.
But that's me. I'm talking about you.
yeah.
Why are you talking about me? I talk about you.
It depends how far into the conversation you want it. Like we had a conversation this morning, and Friday when you asked me, I wasn't in a space that I could text you that conversation. It had to
figured.
be done in person.
Right.
But on the outside, I was like, I think I gave you a little bit of
Yes.
truth, but too much truth. I was just going through whatever we were going through in here at the time. But I do come forward. I think people do when they feel safe.
Yes.
As Lynn Everard always said, people want to feel seen, heard, and understood. People need to feel safe. Trust the person that they're talking to, that there won't be judgment on the other side. And you're going, oh my
1000%.
God, she's a whack job.
Yeah.
Or come up with some other thing. I can't ever talk to her again because she actually told me the truth. Then don't ask,
Exactly.
right? I think if you're not
yes.
prepared to handle the truth,
Don't
sound
ask.
like my mother. Then don't
Every
ask.
day you sound like your mother a little bit more.
It's true. It's true. I don't find it's black or white. I don't think it's one thing or the other. It's sometimes an amalgamation of everything, but there's also, it could be this, it could be that, it could be this.
What about you, Max? You're very quiet.
I mean, I was really interested in the part about attachments, and because I struggle with being attached, especially to stuff. And so that part was really helpful for me because I'm now currently starting to reorganize. I have this spare room that I can't fit a guest in there right now because of all the stuff. So yeah, I'm trying to work on like where that comes from. I mean, and I still have some more like thinking about it to do, but I know I'm not the only. Now it's nice to know I'm not the only one. I don't know. I just feel like
You're in good company.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because I always forget at the end of our segments to bring up what we're going to talk about next week because we're off on a tangent. But next week, is it okay? Is it too premature?
No.
So next week, the recommandment is I'm butchering it, but I shall not judge, attach, or expect. So it's all about judgment, attachment, or expectation. So you okay?
Yep.
So you mentioned attachment, and this is a really, really long chapter, so I highly recommend, if you're listening, start reading it now. But it helps us recognize our attachments, recognize how when we expect something from another, it robs us of our peace, how when the difference between discernment and judgment. Discerning is, because I say things all the time, Wendy, and I'm like, I'm just saying it as I see it. There's no judgment attached to it, but when we start attaching judgment, what that looks like, and the attachment we attach to relationships, we attach to identity, we attach to things, we attach to our beliefs, we attach to all of these things, and because we don't release those attachments, it keeps us from moving forward. So I'm glad you brought up the attachment and letting things go, but it goes back to the first 3-4 recommandments and understanding why are we attached to these things? Where does that attachment come from? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a night. This chapter sort of brings the other ones forward.
Yes.
Because you
Yes.
can't
Full circle.
you can't get to number 2 without going through number 1. And people have asked me about this segment. They says, well, what do you think about the ladies and this and this and that? And I answer them. I says, you're gonna have to ask them. And they said, no, but what do I think? I says, I listen to what they tell me because it brings me back to my path. See, the end game for me hasn't been written. So I don't judge yet. I don't judge good, bad, or indifferent. I'm going to let something a little beyond me make that call. Me, I'm just going to keep writing the coloring books. I'm going to keep coloring the deals. I'm going to learn the different things that come every single day, which are different. And you meet new players, and you listen.
But you get attached. We both get attached to everything because we'll say everything in this studio has a story, and you and I probably know every piece of thing, from the Rock'em Sock'em robots to every flower to every piece of art to the music pieces that hang on the ceiling about this studio, which means you and I have an attachment to all of these things.
No, I have a story to all of these things.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I'm glad that you responded that way because again, you saw what I brought you today. So I brought Freddie a decanter today, beautiful crystal decanter with the last bottle of Jim Beam that was at my father's place when I was cleaning at his place after he had passed, and he passed in 2019, and that decanter with that bottle of Jim Beam came home with me, and then it went to the gallery, and it was just, for me, I was attached to it because it kept me connected to my father. And as we move, and as I, again, closed down the gallery and the other little pieces of my father furniture and things like that I got rid of, I held on to this decanter because I was attached to it because, again, it was the link to my father. And now I'm forced to look at things in my home again because of, like I'm redoing my floors, so whatever, I'm just re-looking at things. And when I saw this decanter, I had the thought, I'm like, I want to bring this to Freddie. And I had the thought, and then my next thought was, oh no, this is my connection, this is my link to my father, I can't do that. And I had to sit with myself and ask myself, what is the attachment? Why is it hard for me to let this go? It would bring me joy to give this to him. It's almost cementing my a token of friendship. It's cementing my relationship with you. And because it has such value to me and such connection to something that's so important to me, I wanted to hand it to you. If I was attached to it, I would not be able to let it go. And then I have to question that. But because it came from a place of love, and because I released that attachment, I have a memory, it has a story, it has all those things, but now it's a gift that I want to be in your hands, and I can let that go. And I think a lot of us have those stories, have those connections, everything means something, but if you can't let it go, or if it's difficult to let it go, then you have to ask yourself, what fear-based belief is making me attached? Do I believe I'm no longer attached to my father because I let it go? If that's the belief, then I need to look at that. That's all I'm talking about with attachment, and that's got to be valuable for you in letting go of things in your life because you know where your attachments come from. You know where that fear comes from. You just got to look.
And if you
I know that's the hard part. I don't like it.
That's the yucky part, right? It's like ripping off the Band-Aid when you find that. And the Band-Aid's hard to rip off again and again.
And again!
Right, because you're like, you seal up that wound with super glue and then someone like, oh, let's open it up again. And you go right back to where you were.
And accountability sometimes is painful, right? Because you have to say, okay, I gotta change this. I gotta do it to better myself. I gotta change. And people don't like change. People don't like a betterment. They like it's okay. I can deal with this pain.
Just
and
a
I can
limp.
deal with it. Yeah.
It's just a limp.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you have to, because in order to progress, you got to get rid of that doesn't work for you.
1,000%.
And that sometimes really, that could be people. You know, that could be people in your life.
1,000%.
That could be people in your life that are sucking you dry, and you just, okay, I'm going to take care of the. No. You can't do that.
It can't be at your detriment.
I can't.
It can't
Like
be
the
at your
peril,
detriment.
right?
Yes.
You were talking that when I just shouted out, it's like a limp. When my husband and I, my schmoopy, when we go to like Costco or
We
whatever.
got to meet him one day.
Yeah, I want to meet
resistant.
Whoopie.
He's such a misanthrope, man. He'd just rather be like right in his little office.
a little hermit.
But I'll bring him out one day.
Or listen, picture. This is my schmoopy.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I want to meet
There he
Schmoopy.
is. There he is. He's the blue bunny behind Wendy. Oh my God. I was like,
What's your name again?
anyway, we'll go to Costco and we'll watch people walk, and people who have a limp or people who are
Bad.
and we'll say it's amazing when you ignore whatever that thing was when it was minor, what it evolves into. And so when he sees me, I call it my tomato. I have an issue with one of my toes, and when I have stress, and I start to limp. And when he sees me limp, he's like, "You got to work through it. You got to push through the pain." Or in your words, Dawn, you got to rip off the Band-Aid. Otherwise, ultimately, you're limping in Costco, and my husband and I are just discerning you for it.
They're the ones that limp through Costco.
But you understand, like the people who have terrible limps, it didn't cut. They weren't hatched from an egg.
Yeah.
That was a gradual ignoring of the signs that your body.
But
This
we
is
talked
actually
about that
okay.
before the show started today. It's like clearing through the cobwebs. At what
Yes.
point did those cobwebs become a wall or the glass ceiling?
1,000%.
Because you're going, you're functioning, you're showing up every day, you're doing what you do, and next thing you know, you like hit this wall. But you don't even know you hit the wall until you're on the other side of the wall.
Yeah, totally.
Like, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like the word why.
When I said to you yesterday, oh, let's go on remote this summer, and you went, what? Where have you been for the past however
Because
long?
we've been waiting.
And I said, let's do this, and let's go here, and let's go there. And you went, where have you been? But I didn't realize I knew I
Yeah.
wasn't there, but I don't know when I didn't get there.
Yeah.
That makes any
yeah,
sense.
Yeah. I did a video series a while ago, and it's called "You Don't Know What You Don't Know Until You
don't,
Know."
yeah.
Right.
You know, and that's really when you're on the other side. You're like, "Oh, I see so clearly.
Yeah.
Oh, everything is shiny." Meanwhile, right before that wall, nothing made sense.
Yep.
It's awesome. I love personal growth and development.
I
Buy my book. I love it.
Buy her book. How do people buy your book?
Yeah.
Well, being that you asked, go to ubuntufishgallery.com, UBUNTU, fishgallery.com, and I have samples of the audiobook on there, and of the rest of the trilogy. But this is really, you could see as we're dissecting it, this is, if you're willing to do the work, man, this is your guidebook. I can't endorse it any more than that, you know?
1,000%.
And what I love so much is our crew. They sit in the wings quietly, but it makes a difference. And Andrew is always verbal about how things impact him. And this morning we were talking to Gordon about something, and he says, "You be you." And I went, "NTU, Ubuntu Fish Gallery," which is why I looked at Gordon, right?
So cool.
But you don't realize the impact you're making when it just sinks in little by little. And finally, people start going, you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense.
But they won't say it.
Because everyone's at
'Cause
their
they're young.
own level of absorption
Yes.
and
They-
introspection.
They're young. When you're young, you sort of stay quiet. You
He's
have
not young.
feelings. Yeah, he's young. But you have feelings, and you sort of, you keep it this way. Even though if you talk to them long enough, they'll tell you exactly how the wheels are spinning.
Yeah.
As you get older in life, you just let it hang out. You know, you say, "Oh, I'm very wise now. I learned all this," but I may have learned it 15 minutes ago. But the object of the aim, what I would like to do is I would like to do this in a seminar situation where people can come out, if you really want to come out and help yourself. And I'm not talking about the ones that say, yeah, whatever. No, I'm talking about if you really want to get a step up, then this is the material that you want to go through. Whether you want to read it or not is one thing. Whether you want to learn it or not is another.
Because reading is one thing, practicing is another, like you always said.
That's right.
The best book written are ones that are read. But I think it goes a step further. It's the ones that you can actually interpret and put into play in your own life and
that's
make a
user-friendly.
difference. Right, that's user
Wow, a step further for the one that finally said, let's go on the road. You
Oh my
remember?
God, she's on the other side of the wall. She's like,
Yeah, it's like, oh, thank you.
You remember?
Tell Anne-Marie, thank you.
You remember the Rocky movie where the wife had given the birth to the baby and she's in the coma in the bed, and Rocky says, I'll fight again when she wakes up, and he sat at the bed and he says, I'm gonna wait, and he waited and he waited, and she came out of the coma and she says, what are you doing? He says, I've been waiting for you. She says, why aren't you fighting? And he says, I've been waiting for you. She says, go get it. You know, sometimes you just gotta sit and wait. And that's why I was shocked yesterday. And she said, let's go on remote. I didn't say nothing to you for weeks. I said, when you're ready, you'll tell us, let's go. And here we go.
So Friday we're going to be at La Mesa, so come on out and join us at La Mesa Bistro. Next week I'm hoping to be at Nova Fresh Kitchen. I'm going to reach back out to them. They were so super happy that we
Wednesday.
went in yesterday to
Maybe
visit.
squeeze in one more.
I'd like to squeeze in Tiki again too.
Okay. Some of the crew hasn't been there.
Right? Exactly.
Have fun with this stuff.
Tiki.
And the important thing is that when we do this remote, that you come on out and we'll give you the mic and you tell us, you can tell us good, better, and different, because learning isn't always the good stuff. Sometimes saying I'm not the best is a learning
Saying I
experience.
hit a wall. Thank you.
Go
For being
through
on
the
other
wall.
side.
You know, sometimes that is a learning experience, and those around you who aren't courageous enough to tell you that's how I feel, you're speaking for them. And all of a sudden, the growth begins. And it isn't until you get home and says, what just happened? Why do I feel different?
1000%.
That it happens. And yes, the place is different, by the way.
Yes, it is.
when you guys were up there, we were talking about it. We were
Yes.
like, Wendy describes it as like a static. For me, it feels like there was a thickness in the air, like almost I didn't realize it until after the fact, obviously, but almost sludgy. And now, even when I was talking, I could feel myself really fast because there was nothing slowing
fluid.
me down.
Yep.
It's crazy. It feels great.
It's
in
like
here.
Violet from Willy Wonka, and the purples are more purpler,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
The
yeah,
violets
yeah.
are more violety, and the chocolate is more chocolatey. Exactly. The colors
Yeah.
are more vibrant.
Yes,
Yes.
and you feel
It's
different,
brighter
my
in here,
friend.
too.
You
Yes.
look different. You feel different. You're brighter. You're lighter.
It feels brighter.
Even if I don't know if it's even possible, like you're shinier and more beautiful. Like there's just something. This is great.
This is all week.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but Anne-Marie's coming next Wednesday.
Yeah, she told me.
Okay.
She told me.
No,
I'm gonna
I don't
come
think
a little
she's
bit
going
early
to
because
be
she's coming
here.
earlier.
She's not going to be here, I think, for the midday
won't be
show.
able to.
But maybe we can pre-record something with her. She has to be out of here before 12.
Oh, that'd be
Okay.
cool. That'd be cool. And I was gonna come
So,
when she's here.
right.
Maybe
Yeah.
we'll do the segment at 10 and
Yeah,
do the 2 hours
10:30
10
she
to
said she
12
was
and then
coming.
play the
So
tape.
I don't know whether she wants to talk about what she did in here, but we'll talk
Next
about it when
Wednesday?
she comes.
Well, I'm not. I think I said this out loud to you. After we're finished with book club,
We'll
there's
talk.
2 consecutive weeks that I'm going to make her a part of my segment, where I we play a clip of something that she's cleaning or a
That'll freak
reading,
people out.
and then we talk about it. So I think that this would be next Wednesday would be a nice precursor to that, and then we'll finish book club, and then I'll have her back because she's
She's
not-
a force
she's
to be
not
reckoned with.
effing around.
No, she's a force to be reckoned with.
pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
and she's like, I love it. Like she's like secret. She's
Yep.
like secret. Like she's
Yes.
like this like little like. Woo,
We're
just kind of-
covert. We don't. There's some of us who are meant to be in front of the camera, and some of us who work a little bit
And she's
behind the
she's
scenes.
just a tiny little powerhouse.
Yes.
Tiny little power, and she
Unassuming.
is so powerful. Like I want to know what her soul, spirit, like outside of body, is like, because she is bad.
Bad to the
bad
bone.
to the bone.
Bad to the
Bad
bone.
to the bone. Thank you, censorship lady.
So that's happening next Wednesday. All right, we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, the crew has been out marketing May 12th at
I
Crazy
think they
Uncle
got
Mike's.
some news.
So I want to check
You got
in with
news?
them
No?
on the other side of this.
Well, we got
commercial
news for
break.
you.
We got news for you guys. You may not know it, but we got news for you. All right, we'll be right back.